Chief Justice Shri Sathasivam, British High Commissioner Sir James Bevan, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, a very good afternoon. My name is Robert Lyons. I'm Director of the British Council here in India. It's my pleasure to welcome you here today for the release of two important publications: Locating the Survivor in the Indian Criminal Justice System, Decoding the Law, and Engaging with the Criminal Justice System, a Guide for Survivors of Sexual Violence. These publications are the result of the Lawyers Collective extensive research and work on the issue of sexual violence and criminal law, and have been supported by Her Majesty's Foreign and Commonwealth Office in the UK. Sexual violence, of course, is a global issue. Last week, some of you may have had the opportunity to see the award-winning play Nirbhaya, Breaking the Silence, which we were proud to support. This was a thought-provoking production which addresses the issue of sexual violence. The play has both moved and inspired audiences in the UK and here in India, and it speaks of enduring change. And this is something I know that everyone here today supports. Violence against women is unacceptable anywhere in the world. And the British Council will support programmes and initiatives such as Nirbhaya and the event here this afternoon, which help give a platform to address this and other important issues. It's now my pleasure to ask our MC for this afternoon, Bratoti, to introduce our guests. Please, Bratoti.
Thank you, Mr. Lyons. It is our privilege to have amongst us today such an eminent group here, leaders and luminaries in their own fields. We have with us Ms. Indira Jaising. Ms. Jaising is the first woman Additional Solicitor General of India. She has been elected to the United Nations Committee on Elimination of Discrimination Against Women. Ms. Jaising has fought several landmark cases focusing on human rights and upholding the rights of women. She is the Executive Director of Lawyers Collective Women's Rights Initiative. We also have with us Sir James David Bevan, the British High Commissioner to India. In his career spanning more than 30 years, Sir Bevan has held important offices in the United States, Europe, and Africa. Before this current role, he was the Chief Operating Officer in the Foreign and Commonwealth Office. He is also a visiting fellow at Harvard University. We are privileged to have with us the Honorable Chief Justice of India, Honorable Justice Sathasivam. Beginning his career as an advocate in 1973, Honorable Justice Sathasivam was appointed as a permanent judge of the Madras High Court in 1996 and appointed as a judge of the Supreme Court in 2007. He took over as the Chief Justice of India on 19th July 2013, and in this role he has passed a plethora of watershed judgments in the realm of protection of human rights. His judgments in the Lalita Kumari case and recently in the Muzaffarnagar rape case and Birbhum gang rape cases are landmarks for the rights of women. We also have with us Honorable Mrs. Justice Ranjana Prakash Desai. Honorable Justice Desai joined the legal profession in 1973 and was appointed as a special public prosecutor for preventive detention matters in 1986. She was elevated to the Bombay High Court bench in 1996 and was elevated as a judge of the Supreme Court on 13th September 2011. Since then, of course, Madam Justice Ranjana Desai, her very presence has meant so much to many of us, all of us gathered here, and it's truly a privilege for us to have her with us here. With this, may I now request Ms. Indira Jaising, the Additional Solicitor General of India, to come here and give the opening remarks.
Honorable Chief Justice of India, Justice Ranjana Desai, several other judges of the Supreme Court present here, former judges. I don't wish to be formal because in this audience I can see people like Murli Bhandari who have taught me when I was a first year law college student. I can also see in this room people like Ranjana Desai, sorry madam to refer to you by your first name, with whom I have appeared with her and against her at the bar. It is a problem of my age really, but when you get to this age, when you get to this age, you suddenly consider yourself an elder stateswoman and become a bit more familiar than comfort. I'd like to say that we are going through an intense period of change in this country. The change is partly political. We all know that we are in the midst of election campaigning, and before the month of May is out, there will be a new government sworn into this country. There is also change for me personally because there is a tradition, sir, that law officers tender their resignation as soon as the new government comes in. There is change which happened on the 16th of December 2012 when the ghastly gang rape of a young girl took place, and it is my belief that this country will never be the same again after that incident. The number of people we saw out on the street has changed the consciousness of each and every single Indian citizen, and I have reason to believe that it has changed the conscience of people all across the world, not just in India. The point of saying this is that sexual violence is a global phenomenon. There's nothing new about it. There's also nothing new about what happened to Nirbhay. But what is new is the kind of response that we got from civil society. And I think civilizations will be judged not by the extent of violence that you see, not by the extent of violence alone that you see, but mainly and principally by the way in which a nation responds to that violence. And to say the least, that response has to be prompt. First and foremost, on behalf of the entire fraternity gathered here, which includes judges, which includes lawyers, which includes the Lawyers Collective, we deeply appreciate the presence of the Honorable Chief Justice of India in our midst, and Justice Ranjana Desai, and several other judges, because it marks the gravity, the authority, and the due concern that every citizen of India gives to this issue. It was my personal desire to have the Chief Justice of India because I believe that the judiciary has to lead from the front. I believe that the judiciary has a leadership role in this country to play. And it is also my belief that in recent times we have seen that leadership role emerging. This meeting is intended to send a message from civil society and to civil society that this leadership role is required to be consolidated. The issue is not which Chief Justice comes and which Chief Justice goes. The issue is the institution of the Supreme Court of India has to lead from the front. I would like to share with the Honorable Chief Justice and Justice Ranjana Desai that having witnessed over the last 4 decades, almost since 1980, major legislative changes, the first of them came after the Tukaram case in the Supreme Court of India, which led to legislation. Again, we know Nirbhay's incident has also led to legislation. However, it is clear to me, after observing the last few decades, that our challenges are not mandating change, but going beyond the mandates and the statutes and getting it grounded before and within the system and, of course, among the survivors. We are gathered here today not for on our own behalf, but on behalf of those who are at the receiving end of sexual violence. And hopefully these publications, about which I will say a few words, are addressed to them. And it is It is the need to build not just law, not just statutes, but an ecosystem around these laws which will support the survivors. And it is my personal